Olivia had always believed that love, once secured, remained steadfast. Married to Daniel for over a decade, she had settled into the comfort of routine. Their life was stable, predictable even. Daniel was a good man, responsible and hardworking, but his affection had become something distant, more of an obligation than a choice. Conversations were short, kisses were brief, and moments of tenderness felt like echoes of a love that once burned brightly. She spent most of her time running her flower boutique, a small shop filled with vibrant colors and delicate fragrances. It was her escape, a place where beauty still spoke to her in ways Daniel no longer did. One afternoon, as she arranged a bouquet of fresh roses, the bell above the door chimed, signaling a new customer. A young man walked in, no older than his mid-20s. He had an air of quiet confidence, his eyes filled with curiosity as he admired the flowers. Unlike most customers who knew what they wanted, he lingered, taking in every detail. "These are beautiful," he murmured, his gaze settling on a deep crimson rose. Olivia smiled. "They're one of my favorites. They symbolize passion." The young man looked up, meeting her eyes. Passion. That's a rare thing to see in people these days. His words struck her, a reminder of something she had not felt in a long time. She learned his name was Ethan, an artist searching for inspiration for his next painting. He spoke about how flowers had a way of capturing emotions words often failed to express. She helped him select a few, guiding him through their meanings. Their conversation was effortless, flowing in a way Olivia hadn't experienced in years. When he finally made his purchase, he hesitated before reaching into his bag. "I want to give you something," he said, handing her a small canvas wrapped in brown paper. A little token of appreciation. Curious, Olivia unwrapped it and found a delicate painting of a blooming rose, its petals capturing the light as if kissed by the sun. It was beautiful, almost too beautiful. "You made this?" she asked, astonished. Ethan nodded. "You have an eye for beauty. I figured you'd appreciate it." She held the painting close, something unspoken stirring inside her. "Thank you, Ethan. This means more than you know." As he left, Olivia remained standing in the middle of her shop, staring at the painting. It was a simple gift, yet it made her feel something unexpected, something warm, something dangerous. The painting found a place on the shelf behind Olivia's counter, where she could see it every day. At first, she told herself it was just a beautiful piece of art, nothing more. But as the days passed, her eyes lingered on it longer than they should. The memory of Ethan's voice, the way he looked at her when he spoke about passion, replayed in her mind more often than she cared to admit. Ethan became a regular at the shop. He would stop by to buy flowers, sometimes for his paintings, other times just to talk. Their conversations were never forced. He listened, really listened, to her thoughts, her dreams, her frustrations. Daniel never asked about her day anymore. Their conversations were reduced to schedules, bills, and routine pleasantries. But Ethan? He asked about her favorite places, her childhood memories, the kind of things that made her heart race. She tried to convince herself it was nothing more than friendship. But then, she started paying more attention to her reflection before heading to the shop, choosing softer colors, adding a hint of perfume she hadn't worn in years. She noticed how her pulse quickened when Ethan entered the store, how her hands hesitated when handing him flowers, afraid of an accidental touch. One evening, she sat at the dinner table with Daniel. He was distracted, scrolling through his phone between bites of food. It was their anniversary, and he hadn't mentioned it once. Olivia had set the table, cooked his favorite meal, even put on a dress he once loved. But none of it mattered. She cleared her throat. "Do you remember what today is?" Daniel glanced up, confused. "Tuesday." Her heart sank. She forced a smile, nodding as she pushed her plate away, her appetite gone. That night, as Daniel slept soundly beside her, Olivia lay awake, staring at the ceiling. She felt invisible in her own home. The next day, Ethan arrived at the shop with something different. It wasn't a flower or a sketch. It was a note, handwritten on thick paper. She hesitated before unfolding it. "I don't know if you realize it, but you light up this place." Your kindness, your laughter, your passion for beauty. It's rare. I just thought you should know." Her hands trembled slightly as she held the note. It was nothing inappropriate, nothing explicit, but it was everything she had been craving to hear. For the first time in years, Olivia felt seen, and that realization terrified her. Olivia told herself she needed to stop. Whatever was happening between her and Ethan had to end before it became something she couldn't undo. But the more she tried to create distance, the more she found herself drawn to him. It wasn't just his words or the way he looked at her, it was the way he made her feel alive. One evening, as she was closing the shop, Ethan walked in, his expression unreadable. He hesitated before speaking. "There's something I want to show you. It won't take long." She knew she should say no. Knew that following him would mean stepping into dangerous territory. But her feet moved before her mind could stop them. His studio was small, filled with canvases in various stages of completion. But one stood out, a large painting draped under a cloth. He pulled it away, revealing a breathtaking image of a woman standing in a field of roses, her face caught in a moment of longing. The details were unmistakable. It was her. Olivia felt her breath catch. "Ethan, this is..." He stepped closer. "This is how I see you." The weight of his words settled between them, heavy with meaning. She didn't pull away when his fingers brushed hers. For a brief moment, the world outside the studio ceased to exist. "I can't," she whispered, though her body betrayed her, rooted to the spot. Ethan exhaled slowly. "I know." Their eyes held, the air charged with an unspoken understanding. And yet, as much as she wanted to surrender to the moment, the image of Daniel waiting at home flashed in her mind. The man who had given her years of his life, even if he had forgotten how to love her the way she needed. Tearing herself away, she turned toward the door. "I should go." Ethan didn't stop her, but as she stepped outside, she knew nothing would ever be the same again. The line had been crossed, even if no words had been spoken. And now, she had to live with the weight of it. Olivia avoided the shop for days, telling her assistant to handle things while she tried to gather her thoughts. But no amount of distance could erase the way Ethan had looked at her, the way she had almost given in. She had never physically betrayed Daniel, but the emotional line had already been crossed. Daniel noticed her silence, but didn't press. Maybe he assumed she was just going through a phase. Or maybe he had stopped caring enough to ask. That thought alone made her chest tighten. When Olivia finally returned to work, Ethan was nowhere to be seen. She told herself it was for the best. But as the days turned into weeks, a strange emptiness settled inside her. She hadn't realized how much she had come to anticipate his presence, how much light he had brought into her life. Now, without him, the world felt dull again. One afternoon, as she was rearranging the shop, she found a small envelope tucked behind the register. Her breath caught when she recognized Ethan's handwriting. She hesitated before opening it. "I never meant to complicate your life. But you deserve to be seen, Olivia. You deserve to be loved the way you long for. I hope you find that, even if it's not with me." Tears blurred her vision. She folded the letter carefully and placed it inside a small box where she kept old keepsakes, things that once mattered, things that still did. That evening, as she sat across from Daniel at dinner, she finally spoke. "Do you think we're happy?" He looked up, caught off guard. "Why would you ask that?" "Because I don't know if we are anymore." For the first time in years, she saw something shift in his expression. A crack in the distance they had built between them. Ethan had been right. She deserved to be seen. And maybe, just maybe, it wasn't too late for Daniel to see her again.